Well, what would you do if your child got paddled at school for bad behavior? Think about that for a moment. And what would you do if your child got paddled and came home with serious injuries? One family says that's what happened to their son, and they're suing because of that. Their lawyer says 14-year-old Trey Clayton fainted after he got paddled by one of the school officials. And when he fainted, he split his chin open and he broke his jaw. His attorney says he wasn't just swatted with a paddle, that he took a beating, and that's what caused his injuries. Now, lawyers for the school district deny these allegations, and we should mention paddling is legal in Mississippi, where Trey goes to school. In fact, it's legal right now in 19 states. Joining me, Mark Eiglarsh, a former prosecutor and adjunct law professor at University of Miami School of Law, and defense attorney Rachel Self. And welcome to you both. So, Mark, the family is suing because they say his civil rights were violated. How so?
Well, let me just say this. The fact that we still have corporal punishment in the United States, to me, is nothing short of draconian. The United States and Australia are the only two industrialized nations that still use this draconian discipline, and I put that in quotations. 106 countries have banned it. The best argument that they have is to argue that their Equal Protection Clause was violated, the 14th Amendment was violated, because a disproportionate number of African-American males are being disciplined as opposed to a small number of females who are being doled out this type of abuse.
So, Rachel, the issue here is not whether or not it's illegal to paddle, though. So what makes it legal? What makes it school districts allowed to have this in place to make sure that it can actually happen if a teacher wants to do it?
Well, it's simply school regulations and state regulations, and this is generated by each state. And as you indicated, 19 states still allow for corporal punishment. And in this particular instance, the child that was disciplined did not suffer the injuries that were the most severe injuries as a result of corporal punishment. What happened was, as a result of the corporal punishment, the vice principal called the child's mother at home, said, "Your child is acting up. Do I have your permission to utilize corporal punishment?" She said, "Go for it." He paddled the child. The child then, this was a Thursday, the child then went back to class and he wound up fainting. He was brought to the hospital on Friday. Doctors declined to report it to social services.
So,
and
Mark,
there's a lot more to this story than everybody actually realizes. And there's two sides to every story.
The point is that as a result of this, the child suffered injury. But putting this case aside, in many cases, it's been reported that bruising is common, broken bones also takes place, and some reported deaths have occurred as a result of corporal punishment. It just seems like we're past this. We are enlightened.
Well, it's interesting,
this
Mark.
Be the alternative.
In one school year in the same district, 450 plus corporal punishments were handed out. And this is what we know of is the only case coming for that. So is this just a one-off, Mark?
No, I think that many kids are being harmed. Think of what teachers have to be doing. We're trusting teachers with a big wooden paddle to inflict a hard enough injury, right? I mean, I don't beat my kids, so I don't know how it works, but I'm assuming it has to be hard enough to have an impact, but not too hard to cause permanent or even temporary injury. Rachel, that's a good point. It seems like a thin line between a beating and a paddling. And we have to trust administrators to do this?
Well, and I mean, but the administrators are, and federal legislation has tried bills, they've tried to pass bills eliminating corporal punishment on a federal level. It's failed. It doesn't work. Certain states still want to have their corporal punishment. And the issue with it is that, no, they're not advocating beating these children. They're advocating some form of physical discipline, and while it might be taken too far in certain instances, I will say a spanking is a spanking, and that's what they're advocating with corporal punishment. And here, this child, the medical records indicate that
they're using a big piece of wood because Johnny nodded off in class, or worse, let's say he hit another kid.
That's not what's happening,
Let's teach him that violence is wrong by slamming his tush with a big wooden paddle.
And that's what's interesting. The issue of paddling, I'm going to have to jump in here. The issue of paddling is actually not what's being the main centerpiece of the lawsuit, which is it's the causation from it, what happened from it. It's not whether or not that law can stay in Mississippi or the other 19 states where it's still legal. So it's an interesting debate. Mark and Rachel, we appreciate having you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.